Howdy folks, welcome back to the workshop. So today we got yet another restoration project. Don't really know too much about this knife in particular. There's no maker marks or anything. The only thing that I know is that it's old and needs some TLC. So should be a pretty fun project. Let's get right into it. Alright, so I don't really know terribly much about this knife. I can't really make out any maker marks. The blade is pretty rusted, but even there you can't really see anything. The funny part is that the handle's actually not in terrible shape. The leather did shrink a little bit and everything's a little bit loose, but the blade is really what needs a whole lot of work. But we're going to redo the whole thing, just give it a little bit of a new life. So let's get started. Alright, so for once the pin actually came out fairly easy. It's a short little piece of steel stock, it looks like. Is it magnetic? It is. It's just a little piece of steel stock. Alright, so that's pretty straightforward. Looks like some kind of a cast metal piece here. And just a through tang there. The only difficult part that I can perceive at the moment is going to be make sure that the leather, by the time that we stack up all the leather in this material, that we will have the hole in the same spot. But we will cross that bridge when we get there. These spacers actually look like they're in pretty good shape. One of the restorations I did before, they were just crumbling right apart. But these actually are not bad, so we might be able to retain these. Just clean them up a little bit. Okay, it looks like unfortunately we're going to need to destroy the leather in order to get off. Yeah, see? Just crumbling in half here. So we'll go get our trash bin real quick. So as with all the other restorations of this same style, we're going to take some 120 sandpaper for start. We're going to try to clean up these cheeks and kind of reestablish that grind line to get nice and sharp. Just kind of give it a little bit of its shape back without taking away too much material, because these are already a pretty thin knife, so we don't want to continue to compromise the structural integrity of it. So yeah, just a nice little run over with the sandpaper. Kind of make this rust pop a little bit, actually, get it a little bit more personality to it. So this is probably as thin as we're going to go here. Probably going to go right into the ferric chloride from here. Still quite a bit of pitting, but it does add a lot of character. Alrighty, so decided to end up just replacing the white and the red. So what we're going to do is cut these into some small pieces and then trace around them to get them as close as possible before we start drilling the holes. Because just figured I'd just freshen up the whole knife a little bit. Because as you can see here, these white ones are definitely a little bit stained, and I don't think there's much we can do with that. And then same thing with the red. Just not really the same luster that we'd like on this brand new handle. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these up and get them drilled out. Alright, so now that we got all the pieces all filed out, do a little test fit. Let's go original black, do white, red, another white, then the original black. Those line up real nice. Okay, so on the back end we'll go with, see which one lines up better with this butt cap, this small one. That orientation, okay. So we'll go black, white, red, white, then the original black, and then the pommel. Then we just only have this much leather left to put in, so pretty straightforward from this point. So while it's dry, I just want to say a few things. So we're living in unprecedented times, very, very dark and dangerous times. I think most of us can feel that there's something deeply, deeply wrong in the world. There's just so much turmoil and violence and division everywhere. It's just hard to kind of grapple with the scope of it. And not to mention we're all just wrapped up with our, always holding our phones, always looking for something, I don't know, to be scared of, to be mad about. We're just hopeless and we're spiraling out of control. We're aimed towards destruction. It's an odd thing. Definitely a different world than what I grew up in. But that all being said, I believe that the solution isn't, our side winning or whatever. I think the solution is Christ, because He's the Prince of Peace. He's the one who has all the things for us, all the stuff that we're looking for. He has that peace. He has that joy that we all long for, that satisfaction. Because we look out in the world and we see all this evil, and we like to point the finger so we can feel a little bit superior morally, but we refuse to kind of turn it back on ourselves and look at the evil within ourselves. How selfish and lost and depraved we truly are as individuals. And a lot of that, it just breeds just misery in your life. And so many of us, so many people, so many nations, we all operate out of unforgiveness. And there's a parable in scriptures that talks about that there was a servant who got forgiven an unimaginable debt, just ridiculous amount of money, and the master forgave him, but he went out and found somebody who owed him just a pitiful amount and demanded that he be repaid. So he didn't show the same mercy that was extended to him, and we think that's ridiculous, but we do the same thing in our lives, where we expect people to forgive us of everything, but we don't afford people that same forgiveness. And then at the end of the parable, the master catches up with the wicked servant and throws him into prison to be tormented. And I think being tormented is a very good description of the modern person. We are just flighty and unfocused and just oppressed in a lot of ways by our own doing. We have made ourselves prisons because we refuse to forgive people. The thing about forgiveness is we need to receive the forgiveness that we've been offered, and we need to extend that to others. That is the fruits of the faith, in my opinion. And it just takes a tremendous weight off your life, because Jesus himself said that his yoke is light and his burden is easy. So a lot of what people are looking for, because people say they're happy, but they don't have that peace within themselves. They don't have that peace that surpasses all understanding that believers tend to have. Because I remember those days before Christ came into my life, of just anger and bitterness and just tormented, not being able to sleep, just all of this terrible stuff. And it all goes away. Maybe not all at once, but as you gradually forgive, as you've been forgiven, your life will change. You'll become more joyful. You'll become more pleasant. And I really think that is the best way to combat what's going on this day and age. You can do all you want to, forward your political agenda, do this, that, the other thing, but that's not going to give you the peace that you need and that you're looking for. So I'm just encouraging you folks, while today is still called today, to give your life to Jesus. That's all I have to say for that matter. Let's get back to work. So here's the knife all finished up. Really happy with the handle turned out. The G10 mixed with the original liners. Looks really, really nice. Pommel cleaned up pretty well. We got a new aluminum pin in there to kind of match the aesthetic of the pommel instead of the steel one. Like I said earlier, the blade still has lots of patina, lots of character. Turned out real nice and sharp, so very happy with the way it turned out. So I just want to thank you folks for taking the time to watch this video. It means a whole awful lot. If you want to support what we're doing here, just a simple subscribe and a like really does a lot. So again, thank you folks so much for taking time to watch this video, and until next time, be strong, work diligently, and glory to God in the highest.